Welcome back to the picturesque scenic mountains of the Red Bull Ring as GB3 makes its debut here in Austria. In race 1 yesterday, Nikita Bedrin extended his championship lead, winning his 5th race of the season. And the young driver starts on pole position for race 2, which is coming up in a matter of minutes. Let's remind ourselves before we get into it what happened as GB3 raced for the very first time on Austrian soil.
Highlights from round 10 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRD scene. It was Martin Molnar starting from pole position. A better start though from his teammate Maxim Rem on the front row would leave him down the inside into the opening corner. A couple of cars getting aggressive in the background with the Patricio Gonzalez going on the attack on the outside of Kyuho Lee. A little bit of contact at the opening turn. It was Mikolev though who was losing his front wing in the background after contact between himself and Aurelien Abels. Meanwhile, Nikita Bedrin up into second position past Martin Molnar was attacking for the race lead. Deegan Fairclough was also making some progress in the background, and then there was this incident here that would bring out the safety car. Contact between Peter Balzanellis and Lewis Gilbert would leave those two out of the race, and the safety car was deployed. Aurelien Abels returned to pit lane trying to get that repair on the rear wing, but unfortunately she would not be able to rejoin the race. The race would restart though with Maxim Rem having a great restart, but Nikita Bedrin keeping him very close company and the fight for the race victory. It was defensive line coming in from Maxim Rem, Nikita Bedrin to the outside, a bit of a lock up from him and a lock up from a couple behind. Max Rem was able to hang on to the race lead. Nikita Bedrin in second spot. Martin Molnar trying to keep the likes of Lucas Flusha behind. Unfortunately, there'll be a retirement here for Rodrigo Gonzalez out of the race on the run out of turn 3. As the race got back going again, it was Flusha on the charge to the inside, going for a move on Martin Molnar at the opening corner. It was a great move for third position. Deegan Fairclough, though, was waiting behind for his opportunity to come through. It would be 3 wide on the run up the hill towards Ramus. Unfortunately, though, for Fairclough, he'd have to back out of it a little bit. Rowan Campbell-Pilling looking to the inside, and he would try and make it 3 wide himself. Big look to the inside for Rowan Campbell-Pilling, down the inside of his teammate Lucas Flusha, and Martin Molnar straight around the outside off the circuit, with Deegan Fairclough going up and under the trio of them, trying to steal the final spot on the podium away. It was side by side between Fairclough and Flusha as they would run their way down into Schlossgold, with Fairclough on that inside line, getting aggressive, getting bold, and trying to make his way through onto the podium. Martin Molnar with the outside look, he was trying to get his way back past on Rowan Campbell-Pilling, but couldn't quite do so, as they would find their way back to single file. Nikita Bedrin was attacking for the race lead, and he got all the way around the outside of Maxim Rem. He was also given a 5-second post-race time penalty for exceeding track limits. Nikita Bedrin would cross the line to take victory for the 5th time in his career, with Lucas Flusha and Deegan Fairclough being promoted up to the podium for the first race of the weekend, the first race in GB3's history here at the Red Bull Ring.
I know you've had a podium here before, but that's your first win here, I think.
I think so, yeah. I've had plenty of rookie wins around here, but I'm not sure if I've actually won the race. But yeah, it's really great to be back on the podium, and especially on the top step. We had a really good battle with Maxim, and I really loved every single second of it, to be honest.
We spoke before the race, we were saying that, you know, Spain have been very lucky in the football, and we were hoping you'd be lucky as well, and P2.
Yeah, as I said before, we just had to keep calm. We know we have it. I don't think it's much luck. We're just putting all the hard work we need to do together with the engineers and mechanics, and you know, it's working off. Finally, 3rd one in a row, so yeah, looking forward to more tomorrow.
Yeah, and Lucas is second in the championship now after that second place. So a great run of results for him. He's 3 races in a row where he's been on the podium. So good from him. You can see behind me now the cars are lined up here in the kind of makeshift assembly area. It's a little bit different to what we have in the UK. Normally in the UK they're lined up side by side as they would be on the grid, but no, they're just in a line here. And some things to talk about in just a second that changed the result from yesterday. And we already had one driver who was left disappointed. Maxim Rem finished second on the road, was demoted down into 6th place with a 5-second penalty. That was for track limits, and well, there was a further penalty to come, but we'll talk about that after we hear from him. This is what he had to say straight after that race yesterday. Second on track, but dropped down to 6th in the end with that penalty. You must be fairly disappointed.
Yeah, obviously it was a thrown away win, to be honest. I think we did a good job doing the race, leading the race. We had good safety car restarts. Then Bedrin to the end just got closer to me, tried to move on me. I did a mistake into T4. I didn't stop the car enough so he could get the switchback. So he was alongside me around the outside into T6. And yeah, he's done the move. But yeah, then obviously while doing the move I went off track. It was my 3rd track limit, and that's why I got a penalty as well. It's a bit painful, but I think we've shown that we can fight at the front, we can lead the race. Now we just need to finish it off next time, hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah, very much so. You got past Martin very quickly early on, as Nikita did as well. This seems like a track where you have to do a lot of defending.
Yeah, I think it's with the DRS it's quite difficult to pull away. I mean, you have 2 long straights where the guy behind you can use the DRS, but then again they have arrow washing in 6 and 7 and 9 and 10, so it's sort of fairly equal. I just did a little mistake which gave Bedrin the opportunity to come even closer to me and do the move. I just need to do less mistakes next time.
It's always the way, improvements. You start 5th for the second race of the weekend. What do you think is achievable? You should get a bit of a toe up to the first corner.
Yeah, I think in Hungaroring we've already shown that we can fight from the back. I think if I have a good start, there's definitely a podium in it. Maybe a win, let's see what happens. I think racing in Red Bull Ring is always quite, yes, there's a lot of action, that's for sure, so you never know what happens, and I just try to do my best and take every opportunity one by one.
We don't have a GB3 race in Germany at the moment, but obviously this is a German-speaking country. Would you consider this your home race?
Yeah, all my friends from my hometown are here, so it's definitely the home race for me,
Bit of a road trip?
Yeah, 4.5 hours on the country roads with Jamie. We had some fun time driving here,
I love that. We wish you the best of luck for the rest of the weekend, and we know you've got the pace to get back on that podium and make some moves.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I was going to ask Maxim whether he'd be supporting England, given that they've got a German manager last night, but I didn't think, given the circumstances, that would be a great idea. And there was more bad news for Maxim overnight, because he was one of 3 drivers, along with Deegan Fairclough and Rowan Campbell-Pilling, who got another place penalty after they were deemed to have weaved after the safety car restart gantry. So basically that means after that position you're not allowed to weave, you have to be ready for the restart. So they get a slight penalty, which obviously means the results are slightly different. It means that Nikita Bedrin still wins that race, his 5th race win of the season. Lucas Vlusha coming 2nd, with Martin Molnar, the Hungarian driver, now promoted to 3rd. Deegan Fairclough drops down a place then to 4th, with Patricio Gonzalez up to 5th. Kyuho Lee also up to 6th. Maxime Rem, as I mentioned there, is in 7th, with Abby pulling 8th. Leon Wilson 9th, Ricardo Baptista 10th, and it also drops Rowan Campbell-Pilling down to 14th. Also, we can see Dante Vinci here just having some last-minute conversation. He is one of 2 drivers that got a 3-place grid drop. That's because of causing separate collisions during the race, along with Lewis Gilbert, who'll start right at the back of the grid. So Dante Vinci here, the Australian driver, as we heard from yesterday on the broadcast, just having a bit of a chat with his hill speed engineer just before getting out to the race. And of course, we are racing here for the 2nd time in Austria in GB3's history. This is the Red Bull Ring, and let's take a closer look.
The GB3 Championship heads to the Styrian Mountains for the very first time as we head to the Red Bull Ring. First opened back in 1969 as the Österreich Ring. It was upgraded in 1996 to the circuit we know and love. It is a tricky circuit, but certainly one with great overtaking opportunities. The one into the opening corner at Lauda, up towards Remus, and then down to Schlossgold, where we've got those 2 DRS zones to assist the racing. This middle sector, everything's a little bit more narrow and a little bit more single file. Up the hill and then down into the Ring curve, and that final turn on the circuit at the bottom of the hill as we return to the start-finish straight. That enormous climb back up into the opening corner, 4.3 kilometres around, 10 turns, most noted for its enormous elevation changes, which make it such a picturesque venue. Let's take a look at the Red Bull Ring then, on board with Rowan Campbell-Pilling for the XL Motorsports team, and it all begins immediately with this run into the opening corner at the Niki Lauda curve. Big curve on the inside and that big sausage curve on the left-hand side as you leave. You've got to be careful not to hit either of those, because it'll delay your run out of the corner and leave you vulnerable in this opening DRS zone. We now got the steepest climb of the circuit into Remus, effectively the 3rd corner on the track, and basically a tight hairpin. Goes from 6th all the way down to 2nd, and now we pass over the highest point of this track and start going downhill towards Schlossgold. Very difficult braking zone as it is downhill, so easy it is to lock the front right of the car in this braking zone, but a great overtaking opportunity as we end the 2nd DRS zone. Now this is where overtakes will be less likely, but still possible. We've got this right-hand kick going into this double left-hander. We've got the first one here, very late apex, blind as you roll your way way through, off camber as well, and be careful of that gravel trap on the right-hand side. Now going into turn 7 as they head their way out through the second sector, through turn 8, and then rise back up again before the final 2 corners. We've got the Rindt curve at turn 9, which is blind on the entrance. You throw it in as hard as you can, get it to the apex without touching that curb on the inside, as that will just push you out onto those sawtooth curves. One final corner to deal with at turn 10, and that is a look around the roller coaster of the Red Bull Ring.
Incredibly picturesque track here at the Red Bull Ring in the Styrian Mountains here in Austria. You can now see Abby pulling, starting from 6th in the Rodin car, number 3, with her performance engineer Georgia. They were hoping to stay up and watch football last night, but I think it was a little bit late. But I think, and I won't bother her now because the engines are running, but I think she was suggesting to me that football may be coming home this year. So let's hope Abby can come home with a podium in this race. Let's hear from another one of our drivers now. This is Leon Wilson, who'll be starting in 11th place for this race and showed some pretty good promise yesterday, making up several places. Well, first of all, what a cool track. It must be a pleasure to drive around this one.
Yeah, the circuit's really iconic. The views are amazing as well, but the track is brilliant to drive.
Must be cool coming around turn 5 and seeing that bronze bull statue, the Red Bull thing. I don't even know what you call it. I guess it is a Red Bull, kind of. It's a bronze bull. But that is pretty iconic of this racetrack. And just 2 weeks ago, obviously F1 was here. So, I mean, a bit of added special touch to it.
Yeah, it is. You don't really see the bull when you're driving around, but you do see the scenery and stuff like that when you're driving around, obviously. But main focus was the racing qualifying today.
Yeah, it's a super nice place to be. When you're in that car, you're fully focused, and that was a good race 1 for you.
Yeah, race 1 was good. We made up 5 places, a few from track limit penalties, but we had a problem with the brakes, so we couldn't brake hard enough into the corners. So we were losing a load of time in 1, 3 and 4. But then through the middle sector we were a lot quicker, so we were able to stay in front of the cars behind.
I was going to say the first and third corners, if you're having brake issues, are not the ones you want, because those are the ones where we tend to see the most action. Have you noticed that it's kind of hard? You just want to stay out of the trouble on those corners, maybe?
Yeah, I think that was the main focus, just staying out of trouble, because we knew there was going to be incidents around here, especially with the tight corners. So staying out of trouble is the best thing to do, especially for the first race.
Now you've obviously had one race out of the way, assuming that brake issue is fixed. What do you think is achievable in that second race?
I think the same. Lots of places gained. We had pace for qualifying to be top 5, but then we just didn't show it and made a few mistakes. But I think we can keep climbing and make some good starts.
Obviously, it's a big football match tonight. Are you bothered in any way?
Yeah, I will be watching that. So
what's the score going to be?
Hopefully 1-0 to England, but don't know, do we?
We don't know, and obviously this will get played out tomorrow morning, so if we speak to you afterwards when you get that podium, we can talk about your predictions.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Who's going to score?
Kane and Bellingham.
It was 1-0.
2-0 now.
It's 2-0 now, right, it's getting better. It'll be 3-0 if we carry on, so we'll cut it short there. Congratulations on that first race, made up some good places, and we look forward to seeing what you can do in this second race, and hopefully England win.
Thank you very much.
There we go, we can see the last of the cars going out there, heading out to the grid now, where they'll actually go through the pit lane. They'll do 1 lap of the track, they'll grid up, they'll do the formation lap, and then we will get the race start for the second time this weekend here in the GB3 Championship. We heard from Abby Pulling, we saw Abby Pulling on the screen there. Starting just behind her is Patricio Gonzalez. He's up to 5th in the championship after that amended result overnight. He will start 7th on this grid, and I caught up with the Mexican, who was having a better luck than his brother, let's say. A good race 1 for you, made up a few places there, finished 5th in the end. How tough was it out there at this track?
At the start, I struggled a lot with the grip in general, but towards the end, I saw everyone in the same place as me, so I managed to benefit from it a bit more.
It's obviously a track with a lot of hills. We start off with that rise up into turn 1, and then we go up to turn 3. Which is the trickiest corner to maybe defend on? We saw a lot of attacking and defending in the pack that you were involved in.
I think turn 3 it is. The uphill one is the hardest one and the easiest to overtake.
Because I guess on turn 3 you need to get up there, but also you need to not leave it too late to brake, because we've seen, especially in F1, what happens if you brake too late there.
Yeah, I did a couple of mistakes there, braking too late, locking every single tire. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, what can you do? Obviously, you had a bit better luck than your brother there, whose car is being fixed behind us. But when it comes to the second 2 races, you must have learnt quite a lot from being out there quite a lot this week, and also from that first race.
Yeah, it was really good race, and still room for improvement. So we'll see on the videos what to improve for tomorrow.
So I guess maybe a better start, maybe get some more grip from the start, hopefully get those tyres warmed up.
Yeah, my start, the launch was good, but just ran out of room on the exit.
Well, it's a very tough one straight up into turn 1, so we wish you the best of luck tomorrow, and also to your brother as well.
Thank you.
Patricio Gonzalez, obviously teammates with Nikita Bedrin at VRD, who've been doing incredibly well this season. His brother Rodrigo, not so good, but I'm sure he will make up for this in this race here. We're now in the pit lane, as you can see right behind me, a pit lane that was redeveloped a number of years ago. It's been one of those tracks that's been developed, and there's a huge walk underneath the track, the Walk of Champions, where you can see all of the different champions who have raced here, who have won here, the likes of Michael Schumacher and Niki Lauda, and you can imagine some of the other names there as well. And everything's sort of been redeveloped recently. You can see behind me, the hospitality area here. It was bustling with people a couple of weeks ago for the F1, and absolutely rammed, a nightmare to get in and out of, as you can imagine, because we are in the middle of the mountains here, but one of those tracks where you don't mind queuing for a little while because it is just so picturesque. It's a 4.3 kilometre track here, and as we saw yesterday, the chances of a safety car quite high. We had 2 yesterday. We've heard suggestions from people that we might see a bit more of the same again today. It's one of those tracks where you have to really give it all and leave everything out there. You've only got 10 corners to make up those places. The cars have left the pit lane here. They've gone round on the lap to form up on the grid. They will then, as I say, do a formation lap. We can probably see the cars coming through the gap in the wall here as we see pole sitter Nikita Bedrin going through here, and he will line up there with that first opportunity straight into turn 1. But the cars on the second row of the grid will get a nice little tow up the elevation into turn 1. This is the second time GB3 have raced here in Austria. Race 1 was exciting. I have a feeling this one is going to be exciting as well. So for the second time here this weekend, the second time in Austria in the GB3 Championship, let's go racing.
Race 2 of the weekend here in the GB3 Championship, ready to get underway, and as Nikita Bedrin's almost unassailable championship lead continues to build, can anyone on the grid do anything about him? And it's a fantastic track for us to go racing at, and fantastic racing opportunities. We saw plenty of it yesterday, and a reminder of the circuit we'll be racing around, the rise of the hill towards the Niki Lauda curve, before we continue the climb up towards through the kink of turn 2 and into turn 3 at Remus, where we've got the DRS zone active. Coming out of the corner as well down towards Schlossgold, DRS will be back open again, and we saw plenty of side-by-side, including the move for the race victory here into the Rouge curve as we head into turns 5 and 6. It was a fantastic move from Nikita Bedrin around the outside of Max Rem. Final 2 corners there at the Rindt curve, and turn 10 brings us back out onto the start-finish straight. It is a difficult circuit for the drivers to master, and one that's purely about momentum and confidence. Obviously, a lot of elevation around here, and that does provide itself some great overtaking opportunities, mostly courtesy of this enormous rise up towards the Remus curve, where you can get late on the brakes and make some big moves around. Campbell Pilling gave that one a good go yesterday, nearly clattered into his teammate Lucas Fluscher, who now sits second in the championship. For Nikita Bedrin, though, it was a perfect drive. It was the first time he was able to take victory not from pole position. Guess where he's going to be starting here today? You're absolutely right. He will be starting once again from pole position for the 5th time in his career. Nikita Bedrin on pole position alongside Martin Molnar, who was promoted to the podium yesterday. It's all Excel with Lucas Fluscher and Rowan Campbell-Pilling on row number 2. Campbell-Pilling being dropped down to 14th position towards the end of the race. Max Rem finished in 7th position. He will start from 5th alongside Abby Pulling as all rode in. Line up on row number 3. Patricio Gonzalez will start alongside Q Ho Lee. They both finished in 5th and 6th yesterday apiece. before row 5 sees Dante Vinci drop down a couple of spots yesterday, as was Deegan Fairclough, dropped off of the podium. He'd end up finishing in 4th. Leon Wilson and Rodrigo Gonzalez would finish would start from 11th and 12th position before row 7, which has Peter Balzanellis. 3 retirements in a row for Balzanellis, alongside his teammate Aurelien Abels, who retired on the opening lap after contact out of the opening corner. Ricardo Baptista and Jacob Micallef will start from 16th position. 2 final rows to deal with in Hugh Halfu and Flynn Jacks, with Lewis Gilbert starting from the final position on the grid. They're working their way around. I had some interesting stats that I was taking a little bit of a look through. Lucas Fluscher is on 3 consecutive podiums, which is obviously, great. He's had 3 consecutive podiums. I was looking for the last time that there was 4 consecutive podiums. We had 4 technically this season in the hands of Nikita Bedrin when he finished 2nd first. Then there was a cancelled race, and then he finished in 2nd and 1st again at the Hungaroring. But the last time that I can see it happen, teammate Kuharczyk always had the same thing. He had 4 consecutive podiums, but there was a cancelled race in between on the reverse grid, so it kind of doesn't count. The last time I can see someone getting 4 consecutive podiums in actually 4 consecutive races was Jol Granfors back in 2022, and it's the only time it has in fact happened, at least from my quick glancing over the stats. So the drivers are in position and they are ready to go. Nikita Bedrin, Martin Molnar on that front row. Molnar being promoted onto the podium. Can he promote himself into race victory, or will it be a 6th win for Nikita Bedrin? Can Lucas Fluscher do anything about those ahead, having 4 podiums so far this season? A win has eluded him though. They're ready to go, and 25 minutes on the clock. Very short light sequence, and Nikita Bedrin will lead from pole position. Great start from Lucas Fluscher. He'll look to the outside on the right-hand side of your screen as he drags his way to the outside of Martin Molnar. Straight around the outside of the 2nd position, the Spanish driver goes. And there was a crash in the background. I think it was just someone going off the road, rather. Just how they exited stage right there, heading up to the top of the hill. I believe that might have been Leon Wilson who was going straight on. It was Nikita Bedrin, though, who's been able to hold on to the race lead. Lucas Fluscher up to 2nd. Martin Molnar being put under pressure from Rowan Campbell-Pilling as they cross the way up the top of the hill. Max Rem's been off the road in the background. Abby Pulling, rather, has been off the road in the background as she battles herself with Patricio Gonzalez. The pair of those going downhill, and they have had, unfortunately, a little bit of contact so far this season back in Silverstone. Patricio Gonzalez with the inside line. Abby Pulling getting squeezed out wide in the exit of Sloshgold. And now she's got the high-tech of Deegan Fairclough, who the pair of them made contact just a week ago as they battle. It was Deegan Fairclough having a look to the inside. Abby Pulling, who just manages to hang on to what I believe is 7th position. But the important stuff is Nikita Bedrin is our race leader. There's Jacob Micallef trying to get past the hill speed down to the back end of the circuit. Another big look there coming in from Rodrigo Gonzalez, who himself is going to get past Leon Wilson and finds his way up to the back end of the top 10. Lap 1 complete. It's Nikita Bedrin from Fluscher, from Campbell-Pilling, from Molnar, from Rem, Patricio Gonzalez, Pulling, Fairclough, Lee and Wilson, the top 10, as Rodrigo Gonzalez is going to keep Jacob Micallef at bay. Further down, this is the hill speed of Peter Balzanellis, keeping Flynn Jacks at bay. That there was over 15th position as the teams watch on and try and run the numbers. Nikita Bedrin's lead at half a second, definitely going to be within DRS zone. Lucas Fluscher, and there is a big squeeze there in the background, and off the road goes the hill speed. Is he going to be able to drag it back on? Superb car control there from the hill speed, the number 10 of Dante Vinci, getting squeezed off the road in his battle with Jacob Micallef, and he's dropped only the single position in that. That was very, very scary indeed. Reminded me of that MotoGP race around here in 2020, as there is a bit of a look and a lock up to the inside as Micallef battles with Rodrigo Gonzalez. Rodrigo Gonzalez getting dropped behind, so Micallef will now run himself in 11th position. After that, well, I'm sure that will be investigated by race control, that instant between Micallef and Dante Vinci. Rodrigo Gonzalez getting past there, and the high-tech driver has found his way just outside of the top 10. Only 2 laps complete, half a second for the race lead. The fastest opening sector did go the way of Rowan Campbell-Pilling. As you can see at the top of the screen, race start noted. There were a couple of cars that went off at turn 1, and so I'm sure race control have a little look at a couple of bits on that. Fairclough managed to get his way past Abby Pulling on that lap. As you can see, Dante Vinci and Peter Balzanellis dropping down in order. Unfortunately, not quite the race, the hill speed we're looking for at the moment. There are 3 drivers sitting 15th, 17th and 18th now. There is the 22 of Rodrigo Gonzalez after losing his position to Jacob Micallef on that lap, but he's close company to those ahead. I think he might be able to get past Micallef here as well. We'll take a look at the race start and we'll try and figure out what actually happened in the opening corner. So it was obviously a great start, a great reaction to a very short light sequence from Nikita Bedrin, and Lucas Flusha was also able to react to that one quite so well, as he was able to get to the outside of Martin Molnar. Looking in the background there, on the right hand side of the screen you've got the red and white car. That is Liam Wilson. That is one of the cars that I believe went straight on here in the opening corner, squeezed off onto the gravel, nearly onto the curb, nearly clipped the rear end of the elite car, and chose to go straight on, saving face and keeping himself in the race. The important bit there, must be said. As we head our way round the third lap, there we go, race start, no further investigation. That's absolutely fair. Obviously everyone's just trying to avoid incidents rather than gaining anything majorly from it. Nikita Bedrin is our race leader. Flusha's gap, though, is being built. It's over 1 second now from Nikita Bedrin to Lucas Flusha. He is building and building that gap quite a lot now, as Flusha's dropping back into the clutch of his teammate Rowan Campbell-Pilling. Martin Molnar was just at the fastest lap of the race. There we go. 25.752 as he's remaining quite close to the back of Campbell-Pilling. It was only separated by a couple of hundredths of a second to Campbell-Pilling. It was Lucas Flusha who was the one who was about 2 or 3 tenths off Max Rem, not quite able to keep up with this group of those up ahead. Micallef battling with Leon Wilson. This one for the final position inside the top 10. And Micallef gets his way through and up into 10th position. So it's Jacob Micallef ahead of Leon Wilson, ahead of Rodrigo Gonzalez in the battle of 10th, 11th and 12th. This is out for 3rd position. Rowan Campbell-Pilling has pressure arriving on his shoulders from Martin Molnar, the Hungarian, who has been getting stronger and stronger, has a fair amount of consistency in his pace. The only time really finishing down the order was that, he didn't start the second race of the season, unfortunately, did Martin Molnar, and then the reverse grid race at Silverstone finished in 12th. So now so that's been top 10s all the way to where we are. And as we approach the halfway point of the season, which we'll be at the end of the weekend, the end of this race and then the end of the next race a bit later on, that will be, Molnar can keep up this consistency, keep the top 10 streak potentially. Nikita Bedrin's lead goes out even further to 1.1 seconds. Bedrin leads from Flusha, from Campbell-Pilling. The 2 XL teammates sat in 2nd and 3rd. It's Rodin then sat in 4th and 5th position of Martin Molnar and Max Rem. And a BRD racing car of Patricio Gonzalez has got his teammate leading the race before we get the high tech there of Deegan Fairclough. Abby Pulling sat in 8th position with Q Ho Lee and Jacob Micallef. Very close there between the 2 XLs. This is the number 21 of Patricio Gonzalez, the number 6 there, the silver and black car of Deegan Fairclough's going to get the up and under. He's got DRS wide open. Deegan Fairclough on the left-hand side of your screen. Right-hand side is Patricio Gonzalez. Abby Pulling's quite close to this one as well. Could pick up any pieces if there's any drama. And Deegan Fairclough will work his way through then, up into 6th position with a nice and easy move, relatively speaking, down at the Schlossgold. Had it all kind of done on the exit of Remus and was able to carry his way off of the corner and build that gap. A couple of battles behind Rodrigo Gonzalez as well. I think was having a bit of a battle there, at least in my time. It must have been with Micallef potentially. Leon Wilson's dropped back to 12th position. We did see him ahead of Micallef, and once Micallef got through, clearly Rodrigo Gonzalez was able to do so as well. The gap for the race, what's it going to be this time by? It's not controlling the pace, just at the fastest lap of the race. Nikita Bedrin's flying at the moment as that gap continues to build a little bit for our championship leader at the moment. He leads the championship by 84 points, more than 2 race victories. Big slide there. As they come through the Lauda curve from 4th placed Martin Molnar, the black and blue car. Just had a bit of a slide, just kicking the rear end out. Quite easy to do there at the opening corner as you effectively come up and over the crest on the exit of the corner. And you kind of feel the rear end go light, as if you were driving down a country road and you go over a humpback bridge. You can kind of feel that rise up in your stomach, and that is exactly what Martin Molnar would have felt there. Only the rear end of his car was also feeling it as well. In the background, Rodrigo Gonzalez and Micallef were fighting. I think Micallef's dropped down the order to 16th, but I actually think that isn't. I think that might well be a bug with his transponder rather than an actual position change. Saw there, car 27, car 4. 5-second time penalties. Car 4 is Jacob Micallef, who I was just talking about there, who I think is actually running in 11th position, just ahead of Flynn Jacks, and then 27 is Leon Wilson, who sits directly behind him. So the pair of those will be getting themselves 5-second time penalty. I think that's actually already been added to the tower there on the left, so that's where they will actually end up towards the end of the race. Micallef in 16th and Wilson in 19th position. They do run themselves in 11 or so on the row. They have just been dropped down. Regardless, they will head back up on the timing tower, and the Key Bedroom will continue to lead by 1.5 seconds. 16 minutes left to go of this race. There was Patricio Gonzalez with Abby Pulling behind, 7th position. Abby Pulling is closing in. The lap times on the previous one, Abby Pulling's lap was a couple of tenths slower, but over the last few laps has been lapping a little bit quicker to close the gap to Patricio Gonzalez. Still sitting around 2 seconds. She's not going to get any assistance from DRS, and I've just seen a race control message, a warning for car 19 and for car 2 for track limits. And, car 19 is Q-Ho Lee. Car 2 is Martin Molnar, who's trying to attack for the podium. So obviously track limits, we discussed this a little bit in race 1. Track limits would be a thing to speak of quite a lot here in the Red Bull Ring, that is so easy to exceed, especially at the opening corner, and then through Remus at technically turn 3, and then here through the penultimate and final corner. It's very easy to run off and out over the track limits, and race control do monitor them. So a couple of drivers pushing it to their absolute limit. As 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th remain within a couple of seconds. The same gap, 2nd through 5th, remains pretty much for the race lead as well, as we are nearly at the halfway point. Well, this one, we already had a safety car in yesterday's race. No safety car to speak of so far. We had 2 interventions at the opening race of the GB3's history here at the Red Bull Ring yesterday, and it seems though everyone's keeping it relatively clean here as all 19 cars continue around the circuit. Bedrin from Flucia, from Campbell Pilling. Will Campbell Pilling try and go past his technically championship contending teammate Lucas Flucia? Is 2nd in the championship. He might well be 80 odd points off of Nikita Bedrin. Rowan Campbell Pilling, though, he's here for his own wants and needs, so I suspect he'll be trying to push his way past wherever he can. This is Fairclough, 6th position for the number 6. Patricio Gonzalez in 7th, and Abby Pulling behind. Abby Pulling is doing a pretty solid job here to try and close her way back in. 7/10 off the back of Patricio Gonzalez. Deegan Fairclough in 6th position leads by 9/10 of a second over Patricio Gonzalez, but what that means is Patricio and Abby, 7th and 8th position, will both be getting DRS here, which in the thinner mountain air will make slightly less of a difference as to what it would down at sea level. Obviously, with it being a bit thinner, you're not punching quite as much of a hole in the air, which is why you tend to run a little bit higher downforce than normally what you'd expect around a circuit like this. Kind of notice it when they if you ever see when Formula 1 goes to Mexico City. Obviously it's much higher elevation than what they normally run in Formula 1, and in that it's they run very high downforce up there because the air is so much thinner. It'll be the same kind of thing up here up in the mountains. They'll be running higher downforce than what you'd normally expect. If you were to run low wings like what you'd expect on this track, if it was at sea level, you wouldn't be able to keep it on the road. And with that, DRS makes slightly less of an impact as well. 27 there of Leon Wilson will try and keep the number 10 behind of Dante Vinci. I know Wilson says that he's in 18th position there on our live timing. That is because he has a 5-second time penalty that'll be applied post-race. They're showing it as it is right now. Wilson is trying to hang on at the moment. Aurelia Nabels to the outside. A trio of hill speeds. Nabels getting squeezed off the road there by Leon Wilson, and Bowser Nellis will come through. The hill speeds, Dante Vinci ahead, Bowser Nellis behind, and now Aurelia Nabels trying to keep them also in tow as car number 4 of Micallef will get a 10-second time penalty. I think that means he's got a 10-second and a 5-second, unless they've just stacked the 2 5-second time penalties to make it 10 in totality for exceeding track limits. But struggling to keep that high tech within track limits himself. Number 11 of Peter Bowers-Nellis, the next one to pick up a 5-second time penalty there at the top of your screen. So the bottom of the timing tower on the left, though, becomes an absolute mess of our live penalties. And even looking at live timing, I've got absolutely no idea what order they're actually in on the track, courtesy of those penalties being applied. One thing we do note is Bedrin is leading by quite the margin as Deegan Fairclough, Patricio Gonzalez and Abby Pulling continue their fight for 6th position. And Gonzalez is there. He's right under the rear wing of Deegan Fairclough. They do get quite a bit of dirty air in these cars, and that will hold all the way through this middle sector as well, where things can get quite difficult indeed. Incident involving car 27 and car 12. That was what we just saw at Schloss-Gold. Leon Wilson squeezing out Aurelien Abels, who now will finish the race potentially in 14th position. Leon Wilson in 16th. But the pair of them making contact there on the exit as Leon Wilson opened up the steering wheel just a touch on the exit of Schloss-Gold. 10 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. A whole host of laps ahead of us at 1 minute and 20 seconds a lap. It's going to be around the 7-lap mark from where we currently run. As again, more drivers will be under investigation for track limits, I'm sure. And I think that would be all I'd be saying on the radio right now if I was in the ear of any of these drivers. Just keep it out of trouble. There is Peter Bowers-Nellis getting himself a 10-second time penalty, same as Mikolev. Wilson, I think, has also been thrown into that. I think might even have been picked up a little bit more. Lewis Gilbert's now got a 5-second time penalty. There are some struggles with track limits at the back of this field, let me tell you. The top of the field, absolutely fine. No worries with it. They are keeping well within the white lines of the circuit and not exceeding it too much. They can take 2 wheels up to the exit of the curb, but it's dipping past that point is deemed as a track limit excursion here in the GB3 Championship. So you've got to keep with. I mean, it's one of those ones where if you look at it realistically speaking, there'll be a couple of corners where that's the exception, like here out of turn 6. If you look at it from a kind of a logical perspective, the track limits do make sense around here. If you're going past track limits, you do have the sawtooth curves and the gravel traps, which will catch you out regardless. So as long as you're not going anywhere near those, should be all right. 5-second time penalty to Q-Ho Lee. That's one of our drivers inside the top 10, who will now drop down to 9th, or will remain in 9th position. The 5-second time penalty for Lee. He is close enough. Rodrigo Gonzalez would jump here. Oh no, he'll be close. He'll be very close. I don't know if he will actually jump, but Q-Ho Lee, regardless, in 9th position, could well drop behind Rodrigo Gonzalez post-race as the 9 minutes remain in it. It's been a very calm and tame race here for the second race of the weekend. Very relaxed, realistic. Obviously, Bedrin won't feel that at all, as he'll be pushing his VRD racing car to the absolute limit around this Red Bull Ring circuit, and the mechanics seem pretty relaxed in the pit lane as well. I'll be watching the feed, sorry if you're hearing my voice, as car 18, also another one with a time penalty. That's Flynn Jacks, Elite Motorsports. One of those drivers outside the top 10, picking up a 5-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, just pushing it a little bit too far. No opportunities here. The thing is, the XL cars that are holding firm at the front here, Rowan Campbell-Pilling won't be pushing quite as hard. I'm sure he wants to get ahead of his teammate, but he won't be pushing to 10 tenths to try and get through as if it was someone else outside of the XL Motorsport stable. But as much as he'll be leaving it all on the line, Molnar and Rem behind aren't exactly getting the opportunities, and they're getting, obviously, sure, double slipstream and DRS, but they're also getting a double bout of dirty air as well to deal with. Car 6, another time penalty being dished out. I wonder what the amount of time penalties that we're at now. I'm very much losing track as to how many drivers have track limit penalties. I think for the most part, like I said, it'll be the exit of the opening corner is always a typical one. There is Rem down the inside of his teammate Martin Molnar. We'll come back to that in a second. Martin Molnar could potentially be dropped back into 5th position. Max Rem locked up and got to the inside. And can the driver trying to retake 2nd position of the championship get through? No, he cannot. The white and black car there just coming through the left-hand side of your screen remains in 5th position. And Martin Molnar will be in 4th, but you get a feeling that maybe Rem is feeling the need to get through now. And with Molnar not getting as much slipstream from Rowan Coward-Pilling, it could be the opportunity. Like I said, the teams will be aware and the drivers will be aware as to which corners they'll be exceeding on. Turn 1 definitely will be one of them. Turn 3, Remus, top of the hill, is a potential. It's just a little bit less likely because it's quite slow speed. It's much easier to keep within track limits. It's more the momentum through the opening corner where they rise up and over the sausage curb on the exit. And that's deemed as a track limit excursion, carrying momentum out onto that 2nd straight and the run up towards Remus where they get potentially pinged for track limit violations. The final 2 corners, particularly the final corner, is absolutely it's brutal for it. Some drivers do take liberties here, so you can see them. Some of the drivers not mounting that sausage curb. I think Nikita Bedrin was quite close to it. Once you mount that, that's where you get it from. Deegan Fairclough up to 10 seconds of time penalty. That's definitely going to in, dropping behind Patricio Gonzalez. Now he's pulling a 2nd attempt then coming in from Max Rem. As I was taking a look at who was getting penalties and whatnot, Max Rem was saying, let's not talk about penalties, let's talk about moves. Max Rem up then into 4th position. Not quite a podium, and I think the podium might have set sail here. Molnar's going to look back to the outside. The 2 Rodin teammates doing battle. The blue and black of Molnar, the white and black of Rem. There's Rem now up into 4th position. The 2 of them battled a little bit yesterday. They're battling again with Rem now ahead of Molnar. 5 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in this race. There should be 4 laps left of this one. That is Rodrigo Gonzalez, I believe, trying to find, it might actually be Patricio Gonzalez rather, with Abby Pulling at the moment in their fight for 7th or 6th position, depending on what happens with post-race time penalties, as it'll all be thrown up into the air, I'm sure. Can't wait to see what this order's going to be. I know Nikita Bedrin's been pretty good. We're the main one I'm trying to keep an eye on is if any of this top contingent, the top 5, pick themselves up any penalties. And at the moment, I can just checking through the race control message. Everyone's clean at the top. A bit of a lock up there from Rem. He's not going to run out wide though. Keeps it well within track limits, despite that front right lock up. And thankfully, the front right doesn't do quite as much work around this circuit. In fact, there's only really 2 corners around this circuit where you lean on that front right corner, and that's those 2 middle turns going through turns 6 and 7, where you're turning through those 2 left-handers. They're quite tight, but that's the only time you're really leaning on the front right. So if you lock up the front right, it's not that big of a deal around here, which Rem there did into the opening corner. For the XL team, this could well be a very, very good result indeed. A look for a double podium. I'm going to check the stats to see if there has been a double podium for the XL Motorsports team before, because I'm not 100% sure that there has. They've definitely had victories and such, but a double podium, I don't know if it's happened. It certainly didn't happen last year. It's not happened this year as far as I'm aware. So this could well be a pretty solid moment for XL, who they did actually they had a double podium at Hungary in the race. Of course, yeah, because Ryan pulling a Lucas Friesen, same way around in race 3 at Hungary. But it is yet another podium for them. They currently sit 3rd in the teams championship, and with their current points haul, they'll be outscoring Rodin. VRD are our points leaders on the teams championship, but only by 10 points. And considering where everything's going to be laying between them, with 1st and what will be 6th for VRD Racing, 2nd and 3rd for XL, and 4th and 5th for Rodin, I could see the teams championship being the thing we'll be talking about quite a lot here, because I think that one might be the most exciting bit. This is Abby Pulling on the right-hand side, the white and black, trying to get past the white, black, red and yellow of Patricio Gonzalez. 3 laps left to go from where we are in the race, including the one that we are on, and Patricio Gonzalez weaving left-right here, just trying to break the slipstream a little bit there from Abby Pulling, who go a little bit deeper here into Schlossgold, going for the outside line, just more trying to carry that speed through more of a typical racing line there for Abby Pulling as the defence came in. They probably will have been told, both of them on the radio, that Deegan Fairclough ahead has a 10-second post-race time penalty for track limit excursion, so he'll drop down definitely behind them unless they really battle hard and drop right the way down the order, which I don't necessarily see as happening. Car 27, a drive-through penalty for track limit excursions for Leon Wilson. So we'll have the post-race time penalty to deal with as well, and a drive-through penalty for exceeding track limits. I can't remember what the threshold is as to how many you need to have exceeded around here. I think normally it's 3. And you get your final warning, and then each subsequent one on top of that is a penalty. So then it's the 5 seconds, 10 seconds and drive through for each one after that. So definitely quite a few excursions being done there for Leon Wilson. 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go, meaning we're on the penultimate lap. Max Rem was close to the back of Molnar was close to the back of Rem. Abby Pulling close to the back of Patricio Gonzalez. Up and under here as they head out of Remus. The predominantly white car with the yellow highlights there of Patricio Gonzalez weaves one way and then back the other. Got to be careful of doing that because that will drag the attention of race control into it. Abby Pulling looks to the outside, going to commit to it here. Going to try and get to the outside of Schlossgold. And I'm sure Patricio Gonzalez is going to run out wide on the exit of the corner as he manages to hang on to what is currently 7th position in the race. That was always going to happen, such a difficult place to make a move on the outside. Rowan Campbell-Pilling, 10-second time penalty for track limits. That's going to promote Rem up the order, as we'll see on that one. 40 seconds left to go. Don't panic too much about the tower there. They're definitely not all retiring out of the race left, right and centre like that. That was just coming in from our live timing here from our partners here at the Red Bull Ring. Max Rem currently hanging on to 4th position, but it will potentially become the podium once the final order is stated. We're on the final lap of the race. Nikita Bedrin's been flying and keeping himself clean at the front of the field. 3 seconds his race lead over Lucas Flusha. Rowan Campbell-Pilling set to get some time penalties to drop down the order. So for Molnar, this could be a movement up onto the podium, unless I've forgotten. Maybe there's some time penalties that have been dished out in this group that I've completely forgotten about. So many have been dished out here, it's hard to keep track of. There is a look for your race lead, and Nikita Bedrin is able to take victory from his first victory, not from pole position yesterday. Now, as he returns to pole position, he's going to return to winning ways, as he's only got a couple of corners left to deal with, and the championship leader, he said it was almost looking like an unassailable championship lead. Well, I mean, it's going to look even more so after this, as the gap was 84 points coming into it. Well, it's going to grow by a further 6 over Lucas Flusha, up to a whopping 90 points, as the halfway point of the season will be ending at the end of this weekend. Nikita Bedrin, final corner, fantastic drive again, an absolute domination. He's been continuing to build the gap, and the VRD Racing driver will win for the 6th time this season. Incredible drive from Nikita Bedrin. Lucas Flusha will cross the line in second, with Rowan Campbell-Pilling behind. He was celebrating to the team, and the team's informed him that he might well have a post-race time penalty. But regardless, we'll have to wait and see what everything ends up being. I did see a yellow flag coming out there up at turn 5. That's on the exit of Schlossgold, and that is Leon Wilson, who has pulled over to one side, at least by my eye. I can't quite see the number. Yeah, it is indeed Leon Wilson, number 27. So a retirement at the end. Well, he obviously had quite a lot of time penalties, and of course had himself a drive-through penalty. So a retirement there, a bit unfortunate. What that means is, because he's not getting the checkered flag, we're not getting an update as to where everyone's finishing, because we need all the cars to cross the line, and then we get our update as to where everyone's finished. So I actually don't have an answer to you, ladies and gentlemen sat at home, as to what the order will be. I know Bedrin and Flusha should be sat in 1st and 2nd. For everyone else behind, not a clue. A lot of penalties to be talking about, and that will be what I'm sure will be discussed post-race ad nauseum between this and race 3, from race direction to all the drivers. It'll be stated, sort yourselves out here a little bit and clean it up, because there was a lot of penalties. I think there might have even been a drive-through for Mikolev as well at the end there. Just taking a look at the... there was a drive-through for Micallef. There was also a drive-through dished out at the end of the race for Deegan Fairclough. So they're going to be dropping right the way down the order. That'll be surely translated into a post-race time penalty, which I think will add an extra 30 seconds onto their time. I have the list of drive-through penalties and warnings. I don't even want to begin as to where to go through it. I think, yeah, no, it's not even where. There's a lot on that list, and I'm sure we will do the number crunching and count how many it was that have received time penalties, because it certainly will be... It will change the result by quite a bit. A result which has Nikita Bedrin as our race winner. We'll see them come in to the pit lane, and I wonder who's actually going to be heading on to the podium. It should be Bedrin, Flusha and Rem, which is who's pulling over this way, so at least there's that. They'll have no idea how chaotic the race was behind them when it comes to all their penalties. There in the middle of your screen is Nikita Bedrin. Flusha will be on the right hand side, and Max Rem will be on the podium there on the left, as you see Bedrin climb out of the car once again and show himself as as yet another quality race winner. I was having a look back. No one's had this strong of a championship lead at this point in a GB3 championship. Normally you have quite a tight race that comes down to the wire. Certainly not looking like that's going to be the case this season. You can see obviously the communications, almost a light debrief here from the Roden team. I'm sure it'll be probably more saying, get over to the scales, mate. We don't want to get disqualified. We don't want another penalty and another podium robbed from us, which Max Rem has had a couple of podiums taken away from him and off his shoulders, as Bedrin's straight onto the scales. And the weight on his shoulders will be getting lower and lower as each race continues, because he's flying, and that VRD Racing team clearly have the setup sorted for the VRD Racing Camp. Max Rem and Lucas Flusha. It will be a fourth consecutive podium. So that's as far as my numbers go, a record equaling fourth consecutive podium from Lucas Flusha. Could he break that record and make it 5 in a row in race 3? We'll have to do the work from the back end of the top 10 if he wants to try and pull that one out of the hat. A very tricky one to do, but certainly Flusha has been a relatively consistent component in the GB3 Championship so far this season, and he remains as a strong driver at the absolute top. Well, the top 3 have crossed the line. It might well be a little bit up in the air, but we'll head down to Jon Jackson, though, to catch up with our top 3.
Yeah, thanks very much, Lewis. Nikita Bedrin, another race victory, this one from pole position, your 6th race of the season. I mean, get a good start and you ran away with it.
Yeah, it went everything to plan. We managed a really good start, and then we just controlled it from the front. Yeah, I'm happy with how I managed the race, and the team gave me a good car to help me with that, of course, so couldn't really be more happy. P1 yesterday, P1 today. The weekend's going really good so far. Let's see what we can do in the last race.
Yeah, it feels like with this result, extending your lead even more, that you are kind of running away with this championship. I know you won't get complacent too early, though, but what kind of gap do you think you need to see before you think, yeah, this title's mine?
To be honest, as long as I'm doing my job, how I'm doing it recently, I think I'm going to be good anyway. As long as we are delivering all the time with me and my team, I think we'll be fine. So it's important just to focus on my job, and then we see how it plays out at the end.
And in that reverse grid race and places to make up, do you think it's going to be difficult to overtake here, or have you got some corners that you think you can make moves on?
I think it will be a fun race, honestly, because there is going to be for sure quite a lot of fighting going on at the front, so hopefully we can also maybe fight for a top 5 or even a podium. So I'm really excited for it.
Hey, maybe 3 podiums across the weekend. That would be a good one, wouldn't it? Congratulations on your 6th win of the season.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Doing great work there at the VRD team. We move around to Lucas Flusha. 4 podiums in a row now for you. This consistency is incredible.
Yeah, just getting used to it. I mean, yeah, as I said yesterday, we worked really hard. We don't stop working with the team. Always, whenever we finish a race, we go back to watching data, what we can improve for tomorrow. So, yeah, it's the right mindset. It's definitely giving us the good results we deserve. Yeah, just saved a bit of tires there for race 3, and yeah, that's what we can do later.
Absolutely, and it seemed like Nikita was kind of hard to catch there. He was pulling out a bit more of a gap each lap. You were happy to sit in second and fight off the drivers behind.
Yeah, I was just staying consistent. You know, as I said, we needed to save some tires. Just drove around, to be honest. I wasn't trying to catch him. And yeah, I didn't have much pressure from behind at all during the race. So yeah.
Yeah, consistency pays off. Second in the championship, second here in this race. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Here we go. Lucas Flusha will come and speak to Maxim Rem. Does that make up for yesterday?
Not really, I think. And I just had a bad start in this race. I luckily got back my positions in the first lap, so I was fifth. And then we were just in a DRS train for the most of the race. And at one point I just got kind of bored, and I just thought I might lunge it in. The first move on Martin sort of broke his DRS, and then in the second lap I had DRS, he didn't, so I just chased him up and did him again in turn 3, and it worked out for me. I flat spotted the tyre, so it was a pain to drive it home. And then I think Campbell Pilling got a track limits penalty, so we finished third. I guess, it still hurts a bit from yesterday, but we have to keep moving and looking forward. And then, we see how the reverse grid race goes on. And let's see.
Well, still another podium. Congratulations. We'll let you go and get your trophy.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Maxim Rem with Roden. Yeah, it's rumours going around that Oprah Winfrey was on the track limit penalties. That I can dispel completely. But we'll go and see the podium now, and Lewis will talk you through all of the standings.
Highlights from round 11 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, and it was a great start from Nikita Bedrin after a short like sequence. It was also a good one from Lucas Flusha, who would get to the outside of Martin Molnar into the opening corner and up into second position. His teammate Rowan Campbell-Pilling was waiting in the wings. A couple of cars going off the road at the opening turn, but nothing too major as Deegan Fairclough was working his way forward down the inside of Patricio Gonzalez to move himself up into 7th position. Meanwhile, all of those were fighting further down behind our race leader, who was building out a 2 and a bit second gap. It was a dominating performance from Nikita Bedrin as he was flying his way away from Lucas Flusha. Leon Wilson was having a bit of a fight with the trio of hill speeds as Dante Vinci was fighting his way around. Bowser Ellis and Aurelian Abels also all around. Bit of a lock up there into the opening turn from Patricio Gonzalez as he himself was trying to keep Abby Pulling at bay. Bit of a lock up for Max Rem, battling with his teammate to try and find himself onto a podium after a lot of post-race time penalties. Nikita Bedrin, though, was absolutely perfect at the front as Abby Pulling was looking to the outside late on in the race, could not get past Patricio Gonzalez, and it was a fantastic victory again from Nikita Bedrin. So, a chaotic race there and some very crazy results. Obviously, if you want to follow all of the results here of the GB3 Championship, head over onto social media or over onto the GB-3.net website, because I can tell you something, these results are very provisional. Nikita Bedrin and Lucas Flusha, as far as I'm aware, they will hold on to second position. We caught up with Max Rem, who I think will be promoted up into third. Rowan Campbell-Pilling definitely had a post-race time penalty. He finished the road in third, but will likely drop down. It's Molnar in fifth, Deegan Fairclough, who also had penalties in sixth position, with Patricio Gonzalez, Abby Pulling, Rodrigo Gonzalez and Hugh Ho Lee, the top 10. Behind that, Jacob Mikulev, who himself had a drive-through penalty late on in the race, didn't serve it, so he'll get a time penalty and drop down to the back. Ricardo Baptista, Flynn Jacks, Dante Vinci, Bowser Ellis, Nabels, Fu and Gilbert. Leon Wilson at the back of the field, a retirement from the race on the very last lap as he pulled over to one side on the exit of Slosh Gold. So we'll head to the podium and we'll see our drivers head their way on from what should be Nikita Bedrin, Lucas Flusha and Maxim Rem on to the podium. Obviously for Bedrin it is an 8th podium of his career in GB3, and that's an 8th podium from 10 races. I know we're on round 11, but of course we are missing one with the retirement or with the cancellation of round 6. Max Rem then will take over third position, and that for him will be his 5th podium of the season. Lucas Flusha, 4 in a row. Could it be 5? And a record-breaking 5. Nikita Bedrin, though, has taken 6 victories. It is 60% of the races he's done. It will be a victory for Nikita Bedrin. absolutely flying in this championship as they receive the trophies as they had earlier on in the weekend. It was, of course, a first and second for Bedren and Flusha. It was Martin Molnar who was joining them on the podium yesterday. Lucas Flusha, I don't think he'll do the same thing he did yesterday, but definitely the best at spraying the bubbles on the podium. He absolutely slammed the bottle down on the top step of the podium and then got bubbles everywhere. So we'll see if he does the same thing again. I find it very, very unlikely they'll do the same thing again, as we do have a race not too far ahead of us and the reverse grid race of the weekend. Let's hand over to Jon Jackson for a bit of a wrap-up.
Well, here we go. They're going to be firing off the champagne in just a second, just as soon as Lucas can open it. I feel like they should have probably taken that little protective thing off it. Oh, here we go, here we go. Luckily, lots of people supporting these drivers out the front. Normally we get covered as the broadcast team, and the wind is blowing in the direction of our camera. I'll stay out of the way for just a second. I can still feel it in the air. That's one thing you don't get through the broadcast. Oh, it's happening again. There we go. Fantastic. Shout out to Shane on the camera. He's going to need a shower before we leave tonight. Is there any more? Any more? No, we're done. We're done. We're out the splash zone. Let's walk down here as we see Nikita just having his photos taken. I stayed out of the way there because we do not want to get involved in that. We've got corks going everywhere here. Tell you what, I'm just going to toss this one over here. There we go. They can have that. Right, so coming up, we've got one more race. It's the reverse grid race, of course. So that gives you an opportunity to flip things around, of course. I think it's 1:45. I think our broadcast starts around about there or thereabouts. I think the race starts at 2:15. So, that's what's coming up in a little while. Obviously, reverse grid means a lot more overtaking, probably a lot more action. It was good to see no safety car in that one, although track limits penalties for half of the field is something that they probably need to work on. Obviously very strict here. They do work on the F1 kind of rules when it comes to European racing, so slightly different to what we see in the UK. Check out the highlights. They'll be uploaded in the next half an hour on the GB3 social pages. You can check out Richard Randall's race blog as well on the GB3 website, and we will see you at around about 1:45. That's local time here in Austria, so you can check that wherever you are locally, and we will have our third and final race of the weekend here in Austria. This is the Red Bull Ring, and this is the GB3 Championship.